Hi, welcome to another episode of On Your Level. Teenage talk show that I've developed here in Central Indiana. Today we're taking it to a new level. We're reaching out to 3rd and 4th graders and 5th graders in Central Indiana, talking about things in your life, things in your world that are important to you. Today's subject is going to begin with a word called media literacy. Anyone know what the word literacy means? Literate? You do? Literate is if you're able to read and interpret your surroundings around you. Now, who knows what media is? The media. Huh? The what?
Like the library.
Library.
A library.
The library. The media is also the newspaper, the news, the TV, even the music, the record labels, and all the things that you guys see each day that help you figure out the world that you live in. You guys listen to a lot of music?
Yes.
You watch a little TV?
Yes.
Tell me about it. Tell me your perceptions of some of the stuff that you see. Just be honest and straight up. Tell me and think about it.
Spice.
What?
Spice?
Spice, and that's a group?
No.
Okay, what's Spice?
It's a nasty program.
It's a what?
It's a nasty program.
It's a nasty program?
Mm-hmm.
And you watch that?
When my daddy's home.
When your daddy's home, you watch that? Okay.
He's asleep.
When he's asleep. One of the things that we're trying to understand today is the things that you see. Tell me some of the other TV shows and some of the music you listen to, and tell me what you think of it. Straight up, just be honest. Beavis and Butthead. Tell me about it. What's Beavis and Butthead?
Two little crazy little.
Okay, speak up. I can't hear you.
Two little crazy little creatures.
Crazy little creatures. It's a cartoon.
It's kind of like a cartoon.
You think it's good for you or bad for you? Bad. And how many of you guys watch it? And that's the nature of On Your Level. We're doing a show trying to help people interpret what they're watching. You guys today took the time out of your schedule, and I thank you very much for coming down and sharing some time with On Your Level. We have to sometimes take time and slow down and understand what we're watching. You all said Beavis and Butthead is not too good, but you all watch it.
It's funny.
It's funny. Well, it's sort of like today, you could be out playing outside, but you took the time to do something that your teachers and your parents thought would be good for you, slowing down and taking the time to interpret some of your surroundings. And it's On Your Level's thinking that some of the shows and some of the music you guys watch goes a little too far. Do you think it goes a little too far, some of the stuff that's on the TV or on the music videos?
Kind of.
Tell me.
There's violence on the music videos and stuff.
Yeah, violence. I think a lot of you guys are from other schools, and I think a lot of you are from different schools, and you all most of you make pretty good choices. Do you think?
Yes.
The question is what this show is about is reaching out to some people that maybe don't make good choices. So tell me about some friends at school or in your neighborhood that are making bad choices, but most importantly, how you think they might be affected by some of this TV and some of the music videos and some of the role models that they pick up.
Somebody that's your friend and they take your money.
Friend that takes your money. And you've had that happen? And why do you think they would do that?
Or candy or something.
Stole money for candy.
Like, because they're not really your friend.
Not really a friend.
Think they're trying to be cool.
Yeah. They maybe never learned right from wrong.
They're using you.
Using you.
The mom didn't teach them home training.
Yeah, the mom didn't teach them home training. Now let me ask you a question. These TV shows, and I don't want to call anyone out, but some of these shows you might watch that we all said are bad for you. Like you said, you watch a show when your dad goes to bed?
Oh.
Have you guys heard about the new television rating and the V-chip?
Yeah.
Now, what do you know about that, and do you think it's going to work?
No.
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 What is going to work is parents that are there full time to be sure that you don't watch the bad stuff. But the question is, if you watch the bad stuff, you might run into someone at school that has watched the bad stuff. Let me ask you this, some of the people at school that do the bad things, do they try to influence you?
Yeah.
Yes.
Tell me how. How does someone try to influence you?
They say it's cool and you should always watch it and see it.
Watch like a TV show or a video? How else?
They try to make you do it.
And and what else? One of the things I see a lot of kids walking around in is a lot of little gangster kids, junior high kids. Where do they get that from?
TV.
TV.
Sometimes also it will be other kids that persuade them to do so. Like they'll be really good friends and then they'll say, well, if you're my good friend, why don't you do this? Because it's cool and it's,
And those are the people that are trying to influence you. And at your age, you see friends like that do that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
Tell me how you have made the choices to fight off that. Tell me some of the good choices you make to be sure that you don't go down that road.
Not to fight.
Not to fight, yeah, that's a good choice.
Ignore them.
Ignore them. That's the best choice possible because, see, they're just looking for attention. They just want attention. They want someone to pay attention to them. And if you don't pay attention to them, guess what? They'll go away.
Not to do something with them.
Yeah, don't hang out with them.
Don't argue with them.
Yeah.
Stay away from them.
And you guys all make those choices. You don't? Do you sometimes hang around those people?
My cousin.
But do you make bad choices like they do? Or you try not to? You're tempted? And the point is about this media literacy is that the more you see of that behavior, the more chance that you're going to do it. Straight up. You hang around them, you're going to be tempted to go down that road. Do you believe me? So maybe you have to think about not hanging around them. They might call you, names, but do you want to go down their road or do you want to go down the road that you're headed on? Your road. Tell me about your road. Tell me some of the things you do that is the good road. Tell me a program you're involved in school.
Arts Initiative.
Arts and what?
Arts Initiative.
Arts Initiative. Tell me about that.
It's a program to relax and get all the strength off your body. Tension.
So relax and loosen up. Yes, sir.
Melting into the floor too.
Melting into the what?
Floor.
Floor, and that's an exercise you do?
Yeah.
And it helps you relax?
Yeah.
Tell me about that exercise. What do you do?
We lay on the floor and Miss Tugman, she tells us something just to relax and calm down, move all the tension out your body. She starts from the top of our head and goes down to our feet.
And that's a good exercise, right?
Yes.
Did you ever do that at home?
No.
Could you do it at home?
Yes.
Will you start doing it at home?
Yes.
Maybe. Because, sometimes you relax in certain places and you should do it more often. Tell me about some choices you make or some things that you do. You got a hobby, you got a sport, you got a dream? Yeah. Football? And you want to be a pro football player one day? But do you do other things just in case you one day won't be a pro football player? The odds are against an artist. What kind? You draw, and you draw at school, and you draw at home.
When I grow up, I want to be a diabetic doctor because I have diabetes. And if I wouldn't be able to be a diabetic doctor, I'd just be a regular doctor.
Well, that's a good choice. It's fun. Hey, you guys pay attention. One of the things, to do is make good choices and have good dreams young, so one day those dreams will come true. So tell me more, yes, basketball. Sports are good, but it can't be a full-time job, just like watching TV or eating. And that's two of the things that a lot of people do in this country is they watch a lot of TV and they like to eat a lot. and America, I think 25-35% of America is overweight. TV, I teach in about 50 different schools, and I see how the kids look and how they act and how they walk, and they all act and walk sort of like a TV set. They wear the clothes they see, they have the mannerisms they see, they walk, they talk, they sleep, they eat, you know, Nike this, Nike that, talk show this, show that. And you don't want to be Nike, and you don't want to be a talk show guy. You want to be a project of your own choices, right? You don't want someone else choosing for you, right?
I think one thing we do in school that really helps bring up our grades is we take like little pictures and well they're like cutouts and you look at your report card and then you get like grades that you don't think so good and then you write on there like your goals to try to bring them up to get better grades in your subjects and stuff. I think that really helped me because I wasn't getting real good grades and then I started getting better grades when you started writing goals and stuff. I think that really helped.
Yeah, it's good to slow down and evaluate what you're doing, and it's also good to slow down and evaluate what you're watching.
My favorite sport is soccer.
Soccer? Sports are good. Sports are very good, but it can't be your main hobby. Yes?
I want to be like my uncle. He's an artist for X-Men and Spider-Man.
He's an artist, yeah, and it's good to find, who are some of your role models? Role models, people you admire that you'd like to grow up to be like.
I'd like to grow up to be like my mother.
And tell us some of those qualities that you admire.
Well, I admire her because she works very hard when she's doing a party, and she just works very hard, and I just want to be like her.
So hard work's a quality most of us admire.
My dad.
Your dad, and what are some of the qualities that he has that you admire?
Well, he's an artist, and he enters himself in like some contests to try to raise some money for our family and stuff.
Yes, Stacy.
My mother, she works very hard at her job. And she works at Logo 7 and making all kinds of shirts.
So hard works, and do you guys all work hard in school?
Yes.
Focus?
Yes.
Pay attention?
Yes.
I love that.
I want to be like my auntie because she's a really hard worker and she's a nurse, and I want to be a doctor or a nurse when I grow up.
And you remember, you think about that all the time, right?
Yeah.
And you think about that when you're studying. You think about that, you know, it's something you think about a lot. You think about that, you know, it's something you think about a lot. And if you think about something you want to be and you focus on it, guess what? You're going to be that.
I want to be like Mariah Carey because she works hard on her singing.
Yeah, anything that you have to do, you're going to have to work hard. And you're going to have to work hard at understanding the things that you're watching on TV. Well, let me ask you a question. You know, y'all said you watched some bad TV. And we all probably, do we all agree that, could you imagine that some of this bad TV affects some of the people that you know making bad choices?
Yes.
So as we speak out there to people watching this show today, what we have to do is, for our own self, but for the people out there that might be watching that show, tell me some things that you can do and that other people can do to understand what they're watching or not watch it.
I watched Goosebumps today. It was about the hairless ghost.
And that's a good show? It's a bad show? Scary show? Well, I see Goosebump books in school. They could be scary. Scary is one thing, but dangerous, angry, hostile, bad, be it talk shows, be it cigarette commercials, ads, be it beer commercials, be it talk shows. You guys ever watch talk shows?
Yes.
Have you ever... I don't know, have you ever, first of all, understand television is sort of, it's a lot of made up stuff. It's a lot of hype. You know what hype is? You know what jive is? They try to make up a story that you guys will watch. You know what time those talk shows come on?
Yeah.
Right after school, right?
Yes.
Quite often they do. They want to hook young kids to watching and believing the world the way it is. Now let me ask you a question. What do you think of the world according to those talk shows? And how does that reality differ from the way it really is?
Sometimes when I come home school, I see like talk shows where girls are getting pregnant when they're only 12, and there's a lot of there's girls being in gangs and people just doing nasty stuff to everybody else.
So you and everyone out there, can we give a thumbs up for turning off the talk shows? Can we, everyone? Except on your level? I mean, I'm serious. Tell me more about these shows. Yes?
I think they make the world look like really bad, and I don't think the world is that as bad as they think they are.
Yeah, the world's a good place. Yes, Brandon?
They make people change their adventure.
Change their what?
Adventure.
Yeah. I mean, have you ever seen anyone that really looks intelligent and smart, that looks like they got heart and soul?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, look a little closer. If someone has to yell and scream and argue and fight, that's not that cool. I mean, that's not good, is it? It's embarrassing. It's juvenile. You guys are in 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade, and you're able to have a discussion like an intelligent, caring human beings. We might not get the ratings that a talk show gets, but I guarantee you more people are listening to us and finding substance in what we're saying.
I would like it at least once in the world when it's a rainy day and I don't have any homework to do. I'd like to be able to turn on the television and not have some talk show on, like.
And that's what I'm trying to do, is get something wholesome on TV that is nice. That is nice. Anyone here not watch any TV? Do you watch any TV? A little bit? Do you watch very much TV? But you don't watch the bad shows, do you?
No.
I know your family, and I bet you don't watch the bad shows. And you're probably a better person because of it, right?
Yeah.
I've seen the way you work, the way you walk, the way you talk. You know, you're not influenced by that stuff because you don't watch it. And you folks here that are watching the trash, how many of you all have remote controls? That's another thing. In my day and age, and I'm not an old guy, we didn't have a remote control. And you know what? It would be cool if we had a counter on that remote control, and you see how many times, boom, 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 boom. You know, I see kids in school, and every 15 seconds they got to go, give me this, I want this, I want that, I want... Guess what that's related to? You spend 4 hours or 2 hours at home going bing, 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 bing. You go to school, or you go to life, or you go to the playground, and you want it now, 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 now. And you know, like you said, you wanted to be what, a nurse? You know it doesn't happen now, 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 now. You don't treat your dreams like a remote control, do you?
No.
But a lot of kids do. A lot of kids treat their life like a remote control. Why? Because they want attention constantly. They can't focus. And sometimes that lack of focus is on too much of this. And, you know, just tell me about some of the things that you could be doing if you weren't watching TV.
You could be playing at the park with your friends.
Enjoying nature.
Board games. With your family.
Board games.
Playing with anything in your room, any games or toys, whatever.
Playing in your room.
Playing sports.
Playing sports.
I like playing with my friend next door because he's like my best friend.
Best friend next door, yes.
Reading.
Reading. How many of you guys read? How many of you read outside school? I like that. That is great.
Cool.
Reading is like exercise of the mind. Yes, Stacy.
I like playing with my friends across the street, but sometimes they can't come over.
They can't come over? Why not? Grounded?
No, they're not grounded. Sometimes my parents won't let.
Yeah. Well, they're maybe trying to help you make a choice to do something better than playing. And I thank all you guys today for taking the time to come today, because you guys could all be playing and hanging outside.
Writing my times tables.
Practicing your mathematics.
Playing Nintendos.
Playing Nintendos. How many of you guys have computers, either at home or at school? Do those help you?
Yes.
I saw a speaker last night, a guy named Tony Brown, who's on a PBS. He's a very progressive speaker, thinks ahead, and he said that every child should have a computer, and it's going to connect them to better jobs and better information. You guys get a lot of good information from the computer?
Yes.
I like to go on the internet and go on the websites, and it's really fun because I get to learn a lot of stuff.
You learn a lot of good stuff.
Sometimes I don't think computers are all that so good and everything, because there was this one guy, he was on the news, and all he did was sit in front of the computer, and he never did anything else except for eat and sit in front of the computer and sleep.
Yeah, and too much of anything is not good.
Play your Super Nintendo.
And does that help you concentrate and focus? I've seen kids with those games, and you concentrate, right? But you're not concentrating a whole lot today on the show. So what you got to do is pretend that this half hour today is a Nintendo game, and give me everything that you got. Cool? Because good concentration is a good choice.
After school, I swim.
You swim.
Yeah.
That's great exercise.
Study for your tests and stuff in school. Get extra practice.
Let me ask you a question. Any suggestions for people out there in television land about things that you do that we might inspire them to do? We have to think about the people that weren't able to be here today, that maybe can't get a ride to On Your Level, or don't have an understanding. What suggestions do you have for people out there?
Just watch it. If you can't be there, just watch it on TV.
Watch a good show. And if there's not a good show, what should they do with the bad show?
Turn it off.
Turn it off.
Channel side.
Would you guys promise me that maybe for the next week, you turn off the set?
No.
No?
I don't watch
TV's live.
So we got a problem here. And I'd like to know how you guys suggest we can solve it.
If there's no good shows on and you just like watching TV and you accidentally turn on a bad show, you shouldn't pay any attention to the things they say and do.
Or not take it seriously. I was an actor in Los Angeles for 4 years. I worked on shows like in the middle of the summer when it was snowing, or in the middle of the winter when it was raining. Fake shows, we'd be eating dinner at a fancy restaurant at 8 in the morning. They'd be filming it. So understand that there's a bunch of guys there and a bunch of producers with cameras that are just trying to hook you into watching something that's sort of fake. And be more objective about watching it. Yes?
If a bad show is on, you could if you have crayons and paper, you could color and ignore
Yeah,
it.
art, hobbies, sports, reading, mathematics, books. On Your Level has a phone number, 971-2626. And at the bottom of the screen throughout this whole show is going to be an email address, a mailing address, hopefully a fax number. And if you want support, we could point people to Media Literacy Foundation, support in this community or in whatever city this show will be showing in that can give you support. 971-2626. Write us. Call us. We will get you information. We will get you support to find something better to do.
I think if you really like to watch TV, you should watch educating shows. I don't know what shows you could watch, but Channel 20, WFYI.
Yeah,
that's
PBS.
Really,
You guys all agree that there should be better shows for kids, more educational shows? Now, what do we do about the bad shows? I mean, they're going to stay on, and I just asked you not to watch them this week, and you said you're going to watch them. Can you think twice about that decision you gave me?
It's hard.
It's hard.
It's a habit. You can try.
It's a habit. You're tempted. It's an addiction.
You can try to avoid turning to that channel.
You know, I think we'd all be better off if we just didn't have TV.
Last year in my classroom, we didn't have to watch, a teacher told us not to watch TV, and then we like write down in this little book what we did instead of watching TV. But some people didn't listen and they still watched it.
Well, here's what we're going to do. For the group of kids here today, I'm going to give you an address and a phone number. And anyone that can write us, and anyone out there that can write us at 9425 North Meridian, Suite 152, 46260, and tell us that they did not watch TV for a week, and send us a booklet of what they did, we'll mail you a free copy of the show. And we're going to be getting some t-shirts made up. We'll get you a free t-shirt. So we have about 3 minutes left. Anything that you can tell me that you've learned from today? You just have a couple minutes.
Not to watch bad TV.
Not to watch bad TV.
Pay attention in school.
What?
Pay attention.
Pay attention at school.
Like if your parents are watching bad TV, just go to your room and do something else.
Yes.
What other things I could do besides watching TV?
Yeah, anything. Rather than sitting there zoning.
That some stuff, if you get too much of, it's not good for you.
Yeah. And be objective, yes.
Study.
Study. Private, quiet time between yourself and yourself.
Stay away from gangs at your school.
Yeah, stay away from people that are making the bad choices. You got to think about this.
Study on your work.
Study on the war, study history.
Study on your work.
On your work, yes.
Stay away from gangs and do your work and stop watching violence on TV.
And find the support. I want to thank you guys very, very, very much. Hi, welcome to another episode of On Your Level, Indianapolis's really only honest, unsponsored TV youth talk show. Thank you, all you teenagers, for coming down today and making the time to share a little of your honesty and your perceptions of the world that you live in. Very contemporary theme of On Your Level is understanding media literacy. You guys know what media literacy means?
Yeah.
Can you imagine it? Tell me.
Media literacy is like, the media is your television, you have TV, you have your computers with the internet, you have radio, and literacy is basically just what you see on it.
And how you understand it and how it affects you. I think that the world's a very busy, profit-oriented place, and quite often youth have been a little bit lost in the shuffle of the media. I work with a lot of kids in a lot of schools, and I ask them, what do they think of their world today? America, their generation. Let's try that. Give me some comments of your world and your generation right now, 1997.
It's really violent, and well, not too many kids are getting active in a lot of creative thinking, but you know, my stepfather says that I should watch the news, but there's a lot of violence on there, and that's real, and he said I shouldn't watch like other movies, but that's just make-believe.
So the world's violent. Any other, I just want some buzzwords, guys. Tell me about your world. Not necessarily your world, but the world, America. Give me some perceptions.
To me, it's a very corrupted place.
It's a what?
Corrupted place.
Corrupted place. America?
Yeah, everywhere.
Why?
Because it just is. Violence is everywhere.
Violence is
Gangs,
everywhere.
Sex, drugs, yeah, everywhere.
You see it a lot on your TV?
Yeah.
See it a lot in your music?
Right, on the streets.
And on your streets, in your neighborhood?
Every time I wake up in the morning, there's something right there in
At
front
your
of my
school?
face. Yeah.
And I want to remind the audience today that we have students from many different socioeconomic backgrounds, many different schools. And I encourage some dialogue. Tell me more about your neighborhood. Tell me what you see. For people out there that I don't know what you're talking about. What are you talking about in your neighborhood?
I'm talking about drugs on every corner. I'm talking about sex in every house. I'm talking about robbing people, getting robbed every day. That's what I'm talking about. That's my world. That's what I see every day.
And you got younger brothers and sisters?
I got a little sister and an older brother, 2 older brothers.
And you could imagine how a young kid is influenced by seeing that stuff, right?
Right.
And it's sort of sad.
Very.
I was in a rough neighborhood the other day, and I saw a neighborhood where I grew up from 1 to 5 years old, and I saw how sad it was. Not sad, but I saw how if a young child aged 7, 8, 9, 10 years old was growing up in that neighborhood, you know, born to poverty and or born to not being so financially blessed, in that neighborhood comes the drugs and the sex and the violence, right?
Right.
You guys, have you ever seen that in your neighborhood?
Yeah.
You've seen it in your neighborhood?
Yeah.
Tell me about it. Tell me, where do you think it comes from?
I don't know where it comes from.
Why is her neighborhood so clean and his neighborhood so dirty?
That's what America made.
America made this extreme diversity.
Yeah, they split it straight down the middle.
And the nature of our show today, On Your Level, is talking about media literacy and understanding the disparity of America and how the media and Hollywood paints the world in a straight down the middle way. If you haven't noticed, things like talk shows, things like certain type of music targets a certain type of person, right? Those shows come on when you get home, right? And you got these musicians talking about the gangster and the Compton and the hood. They're targeting vulnerable people. Who's the most apt type of person to pick up a gangster motif or a style or a dress? A little child? From where?
Family, out of the house.
Out of the house. What race?
black, any race really.
Yeah, because I've seen this gangster motif. It's not only black, it's black and white. Do you guys think that you and your generation is adversely affected by the media and how you perceive things?
Yeah.
I mean, you just said, your younger brothers and sisters that are 7 or 8 years old, they see drugs, they hear drugs, they see sex, they see violence. Probable chance they're going to grow up and play that stuff back out on society or someone else, right?
True. But I wouldn't let my little sister do
Yeah,
that.
because, you're a mentor, a role model to them. How did you become able to make good choices and understand the world objectively and not get sucked down the bad path?
Well, I thank my mom for that.
Mom.
Yeah.
And, parents are the key. Unfortunately, a lot of time parents are busy, working and divorced, and don't have the time. Tell me about some of the things that you guys are exposed to in media or school, TV, radio, that you think affects you and your generation.
Well, like on TV, you see all these commercials about cigarettes and all cool people smoking them. So you think that if you smoke them, you'll be cool. Everybody says that, but it's not really that you'll be cool. It's not, smoking cigarettes are not cool. I mean, it's not going to help you in any way, but some people think that you can become more popular by smoking. But
And, we're going to cross many subjects today in the half hour we have. Teenage smoking is up. And it's because someone in a boardroom, a bunch of adults, know how to package stuff. It's like, how many of us are wearing the same type of tennis shoes? Any kid out there does not think that they're influenced by TV. Look at the clothes you're wearing. Look at the shoes you're wearing. Look at the role models that you have. I know you, and I've seen you at the Gap store. So you're affected by Gap commercials, right?
Yes.
Well, you guess. Why do you want to go to Gap? And I don't mean to call out Gap, but, why do you go there?
They have clothes I like.
And how did you hear about the clothes?
TV or magazines.
And TV and magazines. So we're all affected. And what we have to do is just think about our society and how it's affected. Now, he's talked about his school and his world. Folks that are maybe from the suburbs, tell me about your world. He's told me about his world. Tell me about things in your school, things that you think people are playing out and acting out.
Pretty clean.
It's clean?
Yeah. I mean, there's not much drugs or violence, but you hear about violence every day in your neighborhoods.
Yeah. But your school is pretty clean. How about your school? Is a lot of this stuff going on in your school?
Yep.
Yeah. I saw a speaker last night, a guy named Tony Brown. He's a PBS journalist. And he talked about how the NBA gives the worst team the best player in the draft. And this show today is not for necessarily the people that have the clean school, but for the corporations and for the people out there that have the money to help the worst school. Because if we help the worst school, then the world will be closer together, and there won't have to be such a gap. How much TV do you guys watch? Very much?
Yes.
A lot.
A lot. And what can you do to watch less TV, or what should you be doing rather than watching TV?
I don't know. Yeah, probably thinking about
Homework,
books.
reading, what?
Start thinking about books.
What?
Wrestling practice.
Wrestling practice, sports.
Sports and different kinds of activities is out there today.
I saw another speaker speak, a guy who's sort of a hard rocker guy. His name's Henry Rollins. He's a pretty radical guy, but he talked about the enemy. And guess what? The enemy, and he's pretty radical, is these companies that want to suck you down with them and make you watch that box. They don't care about your life. They don't care about your wrestling. They don't care about your arts. They don't care about your homework. They don't care about a nature walk. They don't care about your family. They want you to watch that. And the point is that the nature of this show is I want you guys to understand what you're seeing. Bo was telling me about the computer and the internet, and I'd like you to share a few things with that, because this speaker last night, Tony Brown, talked about that the computer is the key to the 21st century. And he said that if every home in America had a computer and the child got literate and started using it, in the next 2 years, he will be so far ahead with everyone and everything that he said it's the most vital thing to a family and to education. You want to share your observations of the 21st century and the computer technology?
Yeah, there's a few simple things you got to understand. Is one, cable television is going to get expensive. It's already expensive, whereas things on the computer net or on the internet and through computer are going to be offered, they're going to be dirt cheap. So if you're going to want to go anywhere, people are going to stray away from television. They're going to go straight towards the computer because one, not only will it help you with your work and your processing, your typing, spell check, all these things, it'll have your entertainment there for you too. So, I mean, if you're going to do anything, that's where you're going to have to be because everything's going to be on there.
How many of you guys have computers at either home or school? Do you see what Bo's talking about?
You guys all have the internet, right? How many different websites are there? 3,000, 4,000, 8,000, millions, right? How many TV channels are there? 128, right? And you're paying more for cable a month. Pretty soon, you know, it's going down. I know a guy who pays $10 a month for unlimited access.
On the internet?
Yeah, it's getting dirt cheap. And you pay, what, I know people pay 30, 40 bucks a month for cable. And you don't even have as much things. Right now, and coming up, computers are going to get so advanced that if let's say you're into old model cars, and you want to know how to rebuild a Ford or something, well, they'll have videos on there that you can bring up to your screen, fully automated video that will just step by step get you right through building an entire car.
And you use your mind when you're using your computer, right? Unlike your TV where you're zoning. It's like as a teacher, I see kids on the computer in class and I say, well, they're enjoying that too much. But I've learned in the last 24 hours that they're also thinking and they're getting a lot of information. You guys have computer technology at your school?
Yes.
Do you use it?
Yeah, we go there practically every day.
You have a computer at home?
No.
No?
Not yet.
Well, tell me about your role models, some of the people you admire via the media. Do you have any, and what do they mean to you? Parents? All right, and tell me some of the qualities you admire about them.
Well, I mean, you know, some parents, they have abortion and stuff. But, you know, my parents, or all your parents eventually, if you're here, they took time to have you and everything, and they're supporting you, hopefully, so.
Have to respect them.
Yeah.
I think a lot of kids don't respect their parents.
Ricky Lake. You can see him on Ricky Lake.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily think that you have to, like, base everything around your parents. Because you have a life of your own. You know what I mean?
Well, I spoke to a high school principal once, and he was telling me there's too much anger going around. And it's like you mentioned the Ricky Lake show. And I started at the beginning of the show asking you what you think of the world. Now, if you spend a couple hours a day watching talk shows, spend a couple hours a day listening to some music, spend 6 hours a day at school with an element of people that are jive talking, angry walking type people, you're tempted, you can see how people are freaking out, right? So what can we do on your level, or what could a corporation out there do on behalf of these kids, just like the NBA, to make it more equal?
Make the TV programs educational.
More educational television programs, less violence. Well, see, the violence is going to come. It's free America. They can do what they want.
But it's practically on every TV.
Right, but also you can do what you want too. Last week's show, I gave the viewing audience an opportunity. You send me some information about how you turned off TV or how you observed your world objectively, be it the anger, be it the music, be it the drugs, be it the violence. And I'll send you a free copy of the show, and we're going to get some t-shirts made up, and I'll get you a free copy of the show. Something, you have to be able to perceive this objectively. Now, we all have friends at our school that do not perceive the world objectively, that are making bad choices, right? Tell me about some of those bad choices and where they get those things from.
Well, last year, well, not last year, it was about 4 months ago, in my old neighborhood, my friends, they would get drugs and drunk and stuff, and my friend, I got some news that he got drunk and ran his go-kart into a car and killed him.
Killed your friend on a go-kart. Other experiences of bad choices.
Cussing, because some kids get cussing from their parents, and then when they cuss, their parents yell at them, and then their parents don't understand that they're doing wrong too. Not
Yeah.
just you.
So what do you suggest for someone out there that has parents that cuss?
Just tell them not to cuss around them.
And what if they continue to cuss?
I don't know.
What if they watch a show that, I guess the first thing we can do, you can't turn your parents off, but you can turn the TV show off, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I've watched shows on TV, and I see the cussing. It freaks me out.
I have people at school and they do drugs, but they only do it because their parents told them not to, and they want to just rebel against them. So.
And I think the nature of television, it needs more real people. We all know who Penny and Shaq and Snoop and Ricky and Geraldo and Jerry and Sally and Michael are. Have I named anyone that really kicks it into gear with you guys? Can you tell me someone on TV or a sports figure that really kicks it in for you, that helps you address the social and the racial and the economic issues in your life? Other than your parents, can you name anyone on TV? Anyone on sports? Anyone on a sitcom? Anyone anywhere? Martin? And tell me about that show. I've seen Martin. I think he cusses, but maybe
he does.
he cusses. I'm not saying that if you cuss, you're
People watch him because he's funny.
right. And a little humor, is real cool. It's nothing wrong with laughing. Does he put in perspective some issues?
No, not really.
Just makes you laugh.
Yeah.
Well, not really any talk shows put any perspective, because all of them are just about a bunch of, I was watching TV and I saw something. It was Sally, I think. It was about all these fat women trying to look beautiful, and their friends were bringing them on to tell them that they need to quit. And most of the time, there's a couple shows, maybe a year, that they try to get teens off drugs. And sometimes, because they bring psychiatrists in and psychic people that will tell you what is going to be in your future if you don't quit drugs. And sometimes those talk shows can help you see what will happen to you if you do drugs. But most talk shows just have a bunch of crap on it that.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm older, so I could look at a person and sort of see if they seem to have any brains or substance. Even the psychologist and the psychiatrist on those shows don't look like they have any brains. They look like they, bought them at J-Mart. The point is, but sometimes you guys are not able to perceive that. Maybe you guys are. There's people right now that are watching this show. Tell them how to perceive a bad song from a good song, or a bad show from a good show.
You can call the company. If you're watching a show, you can call a movie or something. You can call the station and see if there's any cussing or something in it.
Yeah, the new TV rating system's going to be good. The V-chip's going to be good.
Vocabulary.
Yeah. Do they speak correct? Do they make sense? Is their disposition together, or are they Are they freaking out? Are they putting on a show? Talk to me.
To me, Dr.
Tell me something about, tell me something you see in your world or at your school that seems to come directly from the media. And tell me how you have fought off those temptations to go down a different road than people you know that have. You got friends at school that walk around like gangsters?
Yeah.
Where do they get it from? I mean, partially.
TV.
And you don't walk around like a gangster, right?
Nah.
Why?
So I don't choose that life.
What made you different than someone that is doing that life? And is there anything that we can do as a show to help those wannabes or could-have-beens or has-beens out there straighten it up? Is there anything we can do? Is there anything you can do?
Probably the only thing we can do is talk about it.
That's a start. Talking about it never hurts. A program that I suggested on a show a few weeks ago was a program that's at a school where the high school kids have grade school kids that come in and mentor them. Meaning once a week, you'll have 10 or 20 grade school kids that will meet with you in your class and talk to you about just like what we're talking about. And don't you think that if you got some second or third or fourth graders in and you talk to them about those things and they were able to see you every week at school, it would help them tremendously?
Yeah, it would.
And you know how easy it would be for you to maybe go to a counselor at school and say, I want to start a mentor program helping grade school kids in my neighborhood? Don't you think that'd be possible at your school?
Yeah, at our school we have peer helping, and like if kids are having problems with school or like they just need to talk to somebody, you can go down to your counselors and peer helpers will come down and talk things out with
To
you.
fellow students. To
Yeah.
fellow students. Well,
Just talking about it make people say go to a good way.
Well, it's up to them, but it's not that easy. You got friends that are making bad choices, right? You think it's easy for them to start making good choices? Huh?
Nah.
It's not easy. You got friends that are making bad choices, you see them? You think it's easy for them to say, oh, I'm going to be like, what's your first name?
Right.
You think it's easy for someone out there to watch this show and watch you guys and say, I'm going to be like him, because it's not that easy. They need support. And if they're getting things through the music and through the songs with the lyric and a beat and an argument and a J-Mart psychologist and a commercial, it further emphasizes that bad choice that they're making.
Well, not necessarily music. You can't say music, because music isn't just one-sided.
Right, and I'm not calling out music, and I'm not calling out rap music. I'm not calling it out. But the point is that, when I, it does have a bit of, and I'm maybe stereotyping, it does, and I don't want to sound like I'm calling it out, an angry message. I mean, tell me about rap music and what
music today, it tells you how the life is out there right now.
Right.
out there in the world, or the rapper's world, or the world's rapper.
Or how it is with gangsters and all. It's
Right.
telling you how it is with gangsters.
Do you think rap music has made gangster life bigger, or brought more understanding and passion to it?
To me, it did both. Yeah, it's kind of equal on both sides, because it tells what real life was really happening outside. You know what I'm saying? Not okay. Say if I just stayed in my house like 24/7 every day, never came outside. You know what I'm saying? And I just turned on the radio. It's like the news. It's just like the news. It tells what's going on, and also.
But do you really want to hear that?
Yeah.
Well, see, the point is it really going on? Do you want to hear all day, gangster, gangster, gangster? I mean, is that good for you?
Most
Well-
people tell you not to go that way.
They tell you not to go that way?
Most people, they chose to go that way when they was younger, about 10, 11 years old. Most rappers today tell you not to go that way. It's the wrong way to go.
Well, that's nice to hear. Well, tell me about rock and roll.
I mean, I don't listen to it, but it's just as bad because they talk about killing people and stuff.
Just different ways they sing it, how they
Yeah.
sing it.
Yeah, this one song
called Suicidal Dream. I mean,
A rock song?
No, it's alternative.
Yes.
So, I mean, alternative's no better than rap, so can't be like saying that rap's bad or anything, because alternative and rock is just as bad.
Well, I think the nature of today's show is to help you and help other people understand what they're seeing and what they're listening to. And this little mentor program I suggested, you know, it's something to go to a teacher and ask them about. It wouldn't be that hard. Wouldn't it be nice for you girls to work with some second graders and teach them a little difference of right and wrong? Wouldn't you enjoy that?
Yeah, because you'd help them understand about the world, so they wouldn't grow up to be something they wouldn't enjoy, and they wouldn't want to be when they grow up.
It would make you feel good.
That's the only way to do it, though, to get them when they're young.
Right.
Get them when they're 10
So,
or 9 years old.
so why don't the people out there watching and everyone on this show take 5 minutes and ask the most bona fide counselor or teacher at your school if you could start a mentor program where you meet with other kids and help them address some issues of making better choices. And report back to our show via the phone number or the address and tell me if it worked. I love kids. I work with grade school kids all day. There's not a finer group of kids. But the transformation that they make from third, fourth, fifth grade to 8th, 9th, 10th grade is wow. So any closing statements, you guys, on this subject today and what you might do to make the world and understand the world?
Okay, my mom's always saying back when she was young, they could keep the doors unlocked and everything. We can't do stuff like that because there's so much violence and robbers and gangs and around the world and drugs. They even have children cussing on TV today, and that's bad.
So you think a mentor program to help little kids might help? And if we had that at every school in America, it might help? And if we had talk shows with everyone talking and ways to support the people watching, is that a good idea?
See, if I was told when I was little not to it was gangs or anything, I don't think I'd be.
Well, next week we're going to talk about race, and we're going to talk about stereotypes. We're going to talk about getting a further understanding of judging a person by the package rather than by the first opinion. I thank you guys very much for taking time out of a busy high school schedule to come down to On Your Level, and we'll see you guys next week. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it. Double check. All right, that's cool. Hi, welcome to another episode of On Your Level. It's a teenage talk show broadcast in Central Indiana, primarily for teenagers, but we've actually been getting a lot of calls from adults. We'd like to get some calls from some corporate sponsors and some people that want to step up for youth and the viewing audience out there. Today, we're going to talk about race. Different colors and the cause and the effect. It's a subject that I talk about in school sometimes. Sometimes the conversation could be very down to earth, and sometimes I get called out, I get labeled, I get pointed at, and it gets like a talk show, a bunch of nonsense. We're going to talk about the differences between black and white. We're going to try to look back at the history of America, and we're going to try to look back at look forward to the future of America. We have students here from about 10 different schools, 10 different school systems. We got kids that have all predominantly one race in one school. We have other kids that have predominantly another race. And I'd like to just open the floor up to start off with an open dialogue on race and how you see the world and your opinion and maybe an average teenager's opinion.
I don't think that we're actually different in a sense as people say that black and white is different. Actually, only thing that's different is that one's female, one's male. That's the only thing that's different. Everybody's usually, it's just because your color of your skin, people are changing things. And back in the day, it really didn't matter what you were as long as you did what you were told. Way back, I'm talking about back in the day. I'm talking about like in the Bible days, if Jesus said that, well, I'm not going to die on the cross for certain people because you're white, you're black, nobody would really get anywhere because you change colors as you grow up. Generations mix together and races mix together. And the bad thing about it is people put it on color and it's different, it's much more, it's deeper than just the color. It's not about your color, it's about who you are. It's like that.
You know that, I know that. There's people out there watching that don't know that. Tell me about it. Tell me about some things about your school system or things you perceive.
Well, I think sometimes we see blacks or whites as different, like when we're walking down the street or something like that. Because on TV, you see a lot of people, black people, like stealing stuff and saying bad words and down with the foo and stuff like that. Because I think it has a lot to do with television and music. And I don't know if it has to do with the past, like slavery, and Martin Luther King and all that, but we see each other as different sometimes.
Yeah, and you're right. The music and the TV further enhances these stereotypes that a lot of people have. Some of these stereotypes have validity, but it takes a show like this and teenagers with the guts that you have to further understand these stereotypes and where they come from and what we're going to do to get rid of them.
See, but if you watch TV or like a movie and you see it's about like drug dealers, mostly it's the white guy or the white man who's like the head drug dealer, drug lord, and then you see all the black people. Okay, maybe they rob stores, but you rob a store, maybe what happens? There's just one person. But the drug dealers, they get like into masses, and they're usually white.
Yeah.
Like the head drug lords.
Yeah, and we can't make a whole lot of sense of the media and how they portray black and white because they're just portraying us.
See, another thing I think is that because I guess African Americans have been oppressed back in the long days, and sometimes, like I had this thing with me when I was walking in the hallway, and there were some gangsters, I guess, and they were just saying, "Hey, white boy," and they were just talking to me, and I was like I did something to them, but when I really didn't do anything. But that's like not every time. That's just like maybe 5 out of 500 or something, or I don't know. They actually do that, and they said that it's all like the white man's fault and all of that. But I think if you just let it go and put it in the past, and it's make it equal, it's not gonna matter anymore because it'll be either just like any other person if you don't think you've been oppressing me for the past 200 years when you haven't, because you haven't been alive for.
Yeah.
You're just like.
Sergey's from Estonia, the former Soviet Union. how have you seen, I mean, tell me more, you know, that makes sense, put it behind you. Tell me your observations of America and the racial diversity.
I mean, I guess you got a lot of racists here, and back over there. Well, like the last time I've been there was like 6 years ago. But when I was there, if you were like in a seaport and you see an African American just walk by you, you were curious. You weren't like, oh my God, what is that? You were just like, you would want to talk to him and find out, why he's really so different. Because over there, you don't see that.
And I think America, and I've studied, and you guys have probably studied as much world history. You probably know cases of discrimination, be it on class or on religion, throughout history that has always been there. Always been there. I mean, to this day, they're killing people all over the world for being the wrong class or being the wrong religion or the wrong ethnic persuasion. Just so happens that, we're not there and we're here. And I think a show like this and your honest opinions we need a little further insight into the situation.
I think what keeps this race thing going is because the movies that come out, like Panther, or, you see certain stuff on TV about KKK or, Black Unity, and it shows all the stuff that what whites used to do to black people back in the, I guess you could say right before the 60s or whatever. And it shows everything that white people used to do, how they used to hang us and stuff, and how we was through slavery and everything, you know what I'm saying? So that, as I look up on that, it kind of makes me, in a way, it kind of makes me furious inside, because I'm seeing this done to me in a way, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm black, and this is what would have happened if I was born back in those days. But that's what I think is keeping the race.
Yeah, it probably doesn't help. I saw Rosewood the other night, a movie that I saw advertised on Oprah. It was about a hanging and the demolishment of a black community in the 20s. And the audience was screaming and hooting. And they were at like a championship fight. And it's important to never forget where we all came from and what our people, be it Jew, black, white, or Christian, have been through. But it's how we resolve it and understand it. And let me ask, you guys, do you have some friends that seem not to have resolved and don't understand the race issue? Tell me why. Tell me how, and tell me what their behavior is about.
I have a friend, she's an African American. She thinks like, well, okay, there's a girl that's white. She's like, I don't hang around with those kind of people because she's white or she's a different race, or white people are like much lame or just different than we are. Because she's like, she just thinks she's better than everybody. She thinks white people are nobodies.
And that's not a good attitude to take, of course. Give me some other, yes.
Well, I got some black friends, and every time I get in an argument with somebody, they always think I'm against the other race, but I'm not, because I got lots of black friends and I got lots of different friends, like Chinese, and I just don't think it's right. People stereotype me.
And they call you out and they think you're prejudiced.
Yeah.
I've been called prejudiced in my classes. My kids, I just want to have an open conversation. And there was one of the schools I teach in, a kid wrote a story. He said his opinion that he saw African Americans in the office more, with less books, no pencils, and less unprepared for class. That's his opinion. It's his opinion. And he got a lot of static for just stating his opinion. Now, we can state our opinions here today and not be called out or beat up or jawed on, right? And there's statistics, and this is funny. One of the schools I teach at, I wondered if they had a report on who makes the best grades and who makes the worst grades. 2 weeks later, I saw in the paper, guess who makes the best, white females, white males, black females, black males. Guess who makes the best grades in this certain school and who makes the worst grades? White females make the best grade, and black males make the worst grade. So this guy's opinion, and black females make the next to worst grade, just in this one school. Now that's not to say that all black females make bad grades, but these are statistics, and these are facts. And he got called out for his opinion that was further verified in facts.
Yeah, just because people say that don't mean they're against it.
Right. And just because, at this one school, black males get the worst grades, doesn't mean that you guys get the worst grades. I suspect you three guys probably you're in the upper class of grades.
A lot of times, black people are angry about what has happened to them, and so they use it sort of in the present. Like, for jobs, how they always say, well, white people are always hired, white males. And so they now have like these new laws that you have to be fair to minorities and stuff like that. But I think white people sort of view blacks as not exactly, they're not being fair. Like, whites think blacks aren't being fair because they think they're just making excuses for being lazy or something like that. And I think sometimes we think that whites are always like the upper class, like richer, and blacks are like always downtown and hanging around with gangs and all that sort of stuff. So we see it in a different view. And so we sort of make like categories, and we don't let them escape.
I told someone last night I was going to go see an author speak, a guy named Tony Brown, a PBS journalist, and I was going to go address and hear about race. He goes, oh, those blankety blank blanks on welfare. Then I spoke to a black friend of mine, and I said, I just talked to this guy, and he just said that. That kind of attitude doesn't work.
I think that one of the things that makes society seem so bad is that even though the youth are growing up and we're growing, they mark us down as we're young, and because of the way our parents have been raised, they change the way we look at things. So when we go to school, somebody call you nigger, I'm learning that nigger is not black, it's not that, it means ignorant. So anybody can be a nigger.
Right.
And I'm learning that.
Especially the person calling you that.
Right. I mean, I'm learning that, and I would sit there and say, I'm not that. You can call me, in Spanish, you can call me negro, but I'm not that. And I'm taking that, I'm telling my friends, any of my friends, I take that as a simple thing is, you're not a nigga for something like you're not ignorant. Another reason why people put themselves down is because back in the day, because like she said, just because we view whites higher, it doesn't mean we don't have a brain. All you gotta do is put your mind to things. If you can put your mind to things, you can grow. Simple. Just because you're white or black, Hispanic, Chinese, whatever, you can do whatever you want to do. All you gotta do is believe that you can do it.
How did you learn that philosophy? I know you a little bit. I know you're involved in a church. How do people out there that don't understand what you're saying, can you imagine how someone doesn't understand and able to put into their life what you know? I mean, tell me.
Sometimes it's because of their self-esteem, like they feel that they're not greater, or they feel that they can't do better, or they feel they are not worth it. And then sometimes it's what some people in their area, like their friends say. My friend said I'm stupid, my friend said I'm ugly. So they'll think I'm stupid, I'm ugly. And sometimes that's what puts them down, but then they have to think of a different perspective. What did my mama say to me? What did this say?
And that's the bottom line. Last week on the show, you told me your mother, right, helped you. You guys all have parents that helped you develop your self-esteem. Let me ask you about the people that you know that are playing out an attitude, be it a gangster or just a real typical, stereotypical attitude. Tell me about their families. Can you see a pattern?
Yeah. Okay. In my neighborhood, it's like all blacks, right? Okay. And it's okay. I say maybe about 2 or 3 whites. They all stay in their houses though. I guess because my neighborhood's so bad, I understand. But in my neighborhood, if you white and they see you walking up and down the street or something, everybody look out their windows and like, who was this? You know what I'm saying? And then like we have a lot of gangs like mixed, like I guess you could say G's, vice lords, everything. So if they see a white person walking up and down through my neighborhood, they'll beat him up. They'll either throw bricks at him or something.
For just being white.
For just being white and walking through the neighborhood. I guess they say it's something like a territory. It's a certain boundary line somewhere. I don't know where it's at, but it's a certain boundary line that I guess a white just cannot cross.
But do most of the kids in gangs that you know come from families that are messed up?
No.
Just
I've seen friends come from gangs from families that was just the nicest family. The kind of family that bake cookies and milk on Christmas, you know what I'm saying?
and the dude just went haywire. And last week we talked about media literacy, and I think someone talked about it. you know, they get it from, I guess, pressure. Yes.
Not all the time, but most of the time it does matter where you do come from. Like if you're raised in a family where they're against a certain color, then 9 times out of 10 you're going to take after your family. But if you're in a family that, you know, is different from that family, then you're going to take after what your family does.
Yeah, it is a family thing. I mean, but what we got to do for this show is talk a little bit to the people out there that might not have the family. It might not have the support. This show and my philosophy is to access the people that are inaccessible, the kids that have been written off by their family and their school. We could save those guys.
Well, I have a couple of things. One thing, one of my friends, they live in this like all prejudiced neighborhood, and they're all white. And one time she brought home a black friend, and this old lady right next to her came out and she said, "Get that Negro off your yard," because she was just very ignorant, I guess. But she was like, her whole neighborhood, like if she sees somebody that's black walking down the street, they like all look out the windows and like roll their eyes. And sometimes, one time I was over at her house, and there was this another one of her friends was walking down the street with one of her black friends, and this man came out, and he had a bat in his hand, and he was about to go hit them for being in their neighborhood. And they just don't understand what it is like to be a different race, because like most people go down on blacks because for just some reason, and it's not really fair for them. So.
Yeah, and there's a lot of ignorance going around. It sounds like we all have cases of just severe ignorance.
There was a family that, I live in a prejudiced neighborhood, but I'm not prejudiced. And a black family moved into my neighborhood, and one of these kids came down and maced the family and like threw bricks inside their house. And that's like when the Black Panthers and the KKK and they all and had a fight or whatever. And I just don't think that's right.
Well, at our school, especially, there's like no black people. Like basically, there's like I have maybe like 3 classes with like black people, and but the people that are in my classes that are black, they seem to fit in pretty well. But like everybody thinks that our neighborhood, especially, is like very prejudiced, but not really. Like
why do you think like your neighborhood doesn't have any blacks, African Americans?
Well,
just guess.
Basically, I think it's because there are so many whites, and I mean, some don't feel comfortable.
Right, just like your neighborhood doesn't have a lot of whites.
On one half is where I hope it's like big, I guess you could say a very, very big neighborhood. I live over there by Arlington High School, and over there by that, it's just like all blacks over there. But it's like this little portion that's broke off, and my neighborhood calls it Hunkyville, because that's where a whole bunch of white people live. But you know, it's like well, I work at McDonald's on Pendleton Pike. Okay, I got to walk to work through there. Okay, and I was walking one day with a couple of friends, you know, about to go to work, and it's like these little train tracks you got to cross to get from that part of the streets to the other one. Okay, so we was walking through over the train tracks, and then my friend turned around, and then he called my name, and I turned around too, and next thing I know, it was like this grown white male sitting in front of me, you know, cussing us out, you know what I'm saying, because we're walking through on his street, you know what I'm saying, and his wife came out, and his son came out, and we had like a big fight and arguments and stuff, and they called the police, and I mean, people from my neighborhood was coming over there, and their neighborhood was getting together, and it was like a big, I guess you could say, a big conflict. So a whole bunch of stuff. I mean, I think mostly, well, I can't say that. Well, I just don't like the way things is going.
You're just walking to work and you get harassed. I mean, what we have to do is think about ways that we can get over that or help other people get over that. I don't know what breeds ignorance and breeds racism, but
I think the problem is that there are bad people, period. There are bad people.
Yeah.
You got white, black, Chinese, whatever, Yakuza, Mafia, you know, anything. So what happens is that let's say a white person is walking and he gets mobbed by a bad person, and let's say it happens to be a black person. So they get really mad, and then they go and tell their parents, and then since their parents were old and they were growing up where blacks were being like hated or whatever, and so they go, oh gee, and so they tell their kids all this stuff, and so their kids growing up, and then they get mobbed a second time, and it happens to be black, let's say again, and so they get even more fear, but they don't understand that that's like not every black person is like that. They just fall into a mob. Exactly. It's the same with white people too, because I mean, you know, you can like get mugged by white people.
Yeah, I mean, racism doesn't really have, its roots quite often are financial. You know, you fall into a stereotype, not necessarily by your race, but by your economic boundaries.
I have friends that are of all races. So I can say that I'm racist in any way. I have people that are Muslim. I have one that's African. I got some that are color. I can't be racist. And like she said before, there's nothing wrong with being the color you are or anything. There's no reason why anybody should be racist. There are white couples going out with black couples, and there's anything wrong with that.
Black, like if a person is black, it's easy to pick on them because boom, they did something bad. We're black, and you started like yelling at them that they were blacks, or if they were like Chinese. But if they're whites, then you're thinking, well, wait a second, there's like too many whites in power. Then we can't be really saying that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So they're just, they're just bad guys. But then blacks, they're really bad. You see, that's all,
Well, one of the things that I see in schools is too much player hating, anger, jiving, everyone likes to jaw on each other, call you out. Your mama this, your tennis shoes that, your Nike this. And they play it out. And it's like, this anger stuff is a defense mechanism. I start calling you out, that's my problem. But you take it as play, but it gets a little serious and it gets way too accepted.
I got a white friend, and he comes to school every day. Me and him hang real tight. We real cool. We never see no differences between each other. But everybody else around us, our surrounding always sees the difference. Like, why you always hang around with that white dude, man, or something like that. And he comes to school. I guess you can say he's down with black people more than white people because he said white people get too petty sometimes. And he said that black people, it's better to hang with. And so, he's cool with me. He's a good friend. Whenever I need him, he's there for me, And most of my black friends ain't like that. It's just like if I asked him for $1 or something, if he got it and he don't give it to me, if he don't even need it and I need it real bad for lunch or something, and that's how it be sometimes. But if he there, he might give me, I might ask for $1, he might give me $5.
Yeah, we have, in black and white relationships, male and female, there's always been tension and conflict. You're friends with a white male or a white female, they call you out at school. They call you a sellout. They sell you out just for being friends with someone. There's no room for that. No room for that. Yes?
My best friend, people at school make fun of her, and she's black, and when she gets her hair done, everybody's like her friend and everything. And some people just don't judge them by their skin or their color; they judge them by their looks.
Like when a black person's walking down the street, they assume that they're gonna be doing something, so they come out and just start arguing with them or telling them to get off their property. But they're not gonna be doing anything. They're just trying to go somewhere like any other person would want to. And one day, they just assume that you're going to be robbing or something, but one day I decided to color my hair green, and all these people were like, "Are you trying to be somebody?" I was like, "No," and they just started like being real mean to me, and the next day my hair was like normal, and then they're like my best friend and everything, so
you see how it felt. Yes?
Well, a lot of people think that blacks are just, like gangsters and are just down in the city and stuff, but there's just as many whites like that as there are blacks. But a lot of whites, they can't get mad at their own color because
Right.
they're getting mad at themselves, and so they have to take it out on someone
And what's an
else.
objective thing is that if blacks or whites could look at their own people and say, yeah, we both have a problem. There's too many whites that are prejudiced, and there's too many blacks that are prejudiced, and too many blacks making bad choices, as there's too many whites. Yes, John?
Well, like she said, it's not always that it's racism. It's on the way people looks. I know I'm big, and I come into a new school, and everyone's always making fun of me, and I just want to be their friend, and they just walk away and stuff. And it's not just the colors; it's how you look and stuff too.
Yeah, people are cruel. I mean cruel.
See, it's easy to get angry because if you just a normal person, you're walking right, and suddenly you get all these looks, and you go, "What? We have a problem, you know?" And they go, "No problem." They go, "Well, what's your problem? What are you staring at me? Well, do I look weird or something?" And then they just turn around, they walk away because then you know, they're like afraid to say anything to you.
Yeah.
So you just keep on walking, and when you have that, you can't like you can get mad. Because I was mad. I mean, I came to school like 6 years ago. I couldn't speak any English, and you know, people were like making fun of me and saying like, hey, you know, go back to like you communist. Oh, I get that a lot. You know, like you know, since I'm from they call you communist and like all that stuff. And sometimes I just wanted to like flip out and just start yelling and I mean going nuts. But then I would just like you know walk away and ignore it.
Yeah.
Point is, you could understand how, and I don't mean to call you out, but we're talking about race. You got friends that are pissed off, right? So you can understand how their friends are pissed off.
Yeah.
I mean, and I can too. That's why, I mean, I can understand. I mean, we could all understand, right? What are we going to do about it? Yes, John.
I had at my one school, I had a friend, he was from Ethiopia, and sometimes I would get mad at him and call him, say go back to Ethiopia and stuff, and other people would do that, but then I realized that it really don't matter where you're from, as long as you're good friends and stuff.
Yeah, we all come, if we all knew our history and had the last 200 years of our family in this room together, be it our Jews, our Catholics, our Irish, our black, and where we came from, we'd all be a lot prouder because our people, to get us here, paid a lot of dues.
When I used to live I moved to Austria, and there, no matter what color you are, no matter what, like you can be yellow or green or whatever, and they don't care. They just look at you for what you are and not for what color skin you have and like how you
That's
look.
nice.
When I was little, my mother used to tell me a story about the mustard seed and how one little mustard seed, just that little bit of faith, can keep you going for a long time. And what I'm trying to say is that us teenagers are put as a Generation X. In actuality, we're probably one of the greatest generations to hit the world because we're actually taking things from a different perspective. And just the rest of us are talking about how we feel about this. If we take that little bit of mustard seed and put it together and we plant a plant, when it grows up, it will be a tree. And when it's all done, nobody's going to be able to tell us nothing. And the more strength we put to this and the more we water our tree and everything, the more it'll grow. And that's like saying that we're the stepping stones and we can change it if we want to. Just because some of our parents are racist and just because some of our parents are not, the teenagers, the children, when they're little kids do not care what color you are. I see my little sister playing with people she don't even know, and she'll just play with them, and she has a good time.
Yeah.
Kids do not care. And because we're teenagers, if we grow up around white, black, Hispanic, whatever, the more we grow up around these people, they'll become our friends and families, our business associations, and everything else. It doesn't really matter, but we're the ones that are able to do it because of our generation. We can change what the world thinks because of this generation. when you're raised up, when you're a little kid, nobody cares. You don't care. You don't care about nothing. When you grow up, it's like, oh, she said this and she said that, he said that. No, they ain't gonna like me, this and that. This don't look right, that don't. It's because of what your peers say. And what you gotta think is that it don't matter what nobody say, you.
And it's not only what your peers say, but where they get that stuff from. And we talked earlier about the media and the music and the TV shows and you know, those peers that are trying to lead a group down the wrong path. You kids out there that are watching, you know, we have to think about those people that are trying to take you down the wrong path.
I think it has to do with separation. Like in schools, you see a lot of white people. In another school, you see a lot of black people. And then in the neighborhoods, it's either all white or it's either all black or whatever. And I think it has to do with not having experiences with other kinds of people. You know, because if you had a black friend or a Chinese friend or a Muslim friend or whatever, I think you would realize that we're all the same. Because when we see somebody like different, we see it through different eyes. And like it matters, like if you're black, you may see white as different. If you're white, you see black as different. If you're Chinese, you may see everybody as different. Because you don't know them and you've never experienced or whatever. I think we should like have schools like more mixed and stuff like that to realize that we're not even different at all. I mean,
see, I think that it mostly depends on the music and what the style that people like. Because if you think about it really hard, that it won't matter, the race doesn't matter, but black people be hanging out with each other because they like rap and they find certain humor funny that the white person might not find it funny, or they don't get together and they like will not watch a movie or just listen to the music to experience. Because I got some friends, right, and they're like black, but they like listen to rock and roll and they listen to rap and they just like both of it, and then you have certain people that just rock and roll. They go, rap, what's wrong with you, man? And like, I mean, I know like not a really big rap fan, but some, I mean, some of it's not bad. And some is rock and roll. Yeah. It's like Marilyn Manson. Everybody heard of that? See, that is pretty. I mean, that's I guess it's all weird. And then it was like another movie. Let's say Friday, Friday the movie. It's like everybody when it came out, I thought, well, nope, I don't want to go see that. It's probably like you start saying, well, it's probably like some humor, black humor, and you'd be like, no, I'm not gonna like that. But then I actually saw it, and I really liked it, and it was really funny. And the stuff that was going on was funny. And then you think about, wait a second, it wasn't that bad. Why would I start thinking that I wouldn't like it? I guess you just have to.
We all have opinions that come too quick, way too quick.
Like Vanilla Ice, everyone thinks blacks should be rappers, but like Vanilla Ice, he's white and he was a rapper, and there should be some like black rock and rollers.
Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah.
Jimi Hendrix, one of the most greatest guitar players to ever live. Boom, he's black.
Yeah.
A lot of times, if that person that's talking about you, if they're looking at you hard enough to know, so many things that they know about you, then there must be something about you that they want or that they like. That's most of the time what happens. If they can talk about you.
Yeah, they're jealous.
Yeah.
They want, if they call you out, they pay attention to you, they're jealous. And you could pay attention to them in a good way or a bad way. Question, yes?
Well, why are blacks hating blacks and some whites hating whites?
The thing, what I think it is because society today is changing so much that just because, like you got a black game and a white and a black game. And because of what the color of the rag or the color of the hat or the way your hat's turned or how your pants are sagging or whatever, people are judging each other like that. And blacks are hating blacks and white are hating whites. Just because you're white doesn't mean you won't hate another white because they're different from you. There might be a white guy with a blonde hair and you got black hair and you might hate him because he got blonde hair. You just don't know.
It's an esteem thing. It's an ego thing. And if I'm going to pay that much attention hating or disliking someone else, it's that person that has the problem. I've seen kids in school, and the story goes, say you two girls get into a fight. If you hit her, you're kicked out. If you hit her back, you're kicked out too. The question is, if she hits you, say you're an average girl, but not as smart as you are, you're probably going to hit her back, right? So the point is that, this gang stuff, hate. Human nature is to get involved.
We had like this day, I guess my freshman year is my freshman year there, you know what I'm saying? I'm just now getting surrounded into the school, and that year I was like, you know, everybody, it had a day for everything. It was like a freshman day where, like, I guess higher classes than you would come up and knock your books out your hands or something, like you walking down the stairs or I don't know, just stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? But they had like a white day or something, and they had beat up all the white people. They had beat up every white person they seen. So if there's a white dude walking down, you know, trying to get his education, just trying to come to a nice school, because, you know, tech offers a lot of things, and they'd go hit him in the back of his head or something, you know, why is this walking minding his own business?
I know, because I went to the school, and they would have different days where, like, 8th graders and 7th graders would beat up 6th graders, and 6th graders would beat up 7th and 8th, and 7th would beat up 6th and 8th, and it just don't make sense like that.
You guys, this show is primarily right now showing in an area that things that you see and know about, the viewing audience might not know about. Even adults, you know, they hear about these games and this fighting and this hate day every day of the year. You know, I want to hear more stories about ridiculous choices and opinions kids make, but most importantly, I'd like you to tell the viewing audience how you choose to make better choices and what we can all do.
Well, I think it's just lack of respect for the other races that are in the world, because lots of people, they don't, I mean, if, like, say, Davia, I mean, I just see her, and if I was prejudiced, I mean, I won't respect her just because she's different from me. And, I mean, I have no right of judging her just by the way she looks or the color of her skin, and it's just lack of respect because they don't really want to get to know the person just because they're different.
Okay. Me and her are best friends. We walk to the schoolhouse every day, and people join on us saying, because, okay, I'm black and she's white, and people go around saying stuff like, how can you hang around with her? Look at you guys, you're different colors. You need that. You know you better than her or something, or like just the opposite. I don't see why people judge us like that. I don't see anything different in her.
I think a lot of people are prejudiced because they're nervous or scared around somebody else. And a lot of whites are just so set in their ways that they don't want to understand, and they don't want to become not nervous around other people.
I think one of the main things that really affect us is how our parents talk to us.
That's the bottom line.
Because the parents, I mean, your parents are such a great role, but when your parents don't speak up, that's why kids go to gang rooms. Because mommy ain't talking to me, daddy ain't talking to me, daddy left me out. So they go to a gang because it feels like a family, and they're always there for each other. Hey, somebody beat you up, I'm gonna kick their butt, we're gonna kill them, whatever. But that's because of the family thing, and that's the same thing with anybody. When your parents talk to you, most kids that are raised in a loving family, your mother disciplines you. Sometimes you might think, well, if I rebel, but in the long run, you be like, hey, my mama taught me right, I'm gonna change. But then some kids who don't have a mama discipline them and they can do whatever, by the time they reach a certain age, they be done either killed themselves, been arrested, or either been shot and killed by somebody or joined another gang. And that's because your mothers, your parents, your fathers, your mothers are the people that are there. And when your father is there, everybody's so respectful to their father, and your mother's just most respectful too. And when your mama and them are there, some things change. Like you might act a totally different way in class, talking crazy. Mama walk in that school and your whole attitude change. You be like, yes, ma'am, no,
Well,
ma'am.
I'd like to spend the last part of this show talking about what do we do on behalf of the people that possibly don't have the family to give them the right support, and to understand what we can do, and also to close out the show today talking about the media and what that does to hurt or help us.
Don't give in to people's peer pressure or expectations, because there's always somebody who's going to be pressuring you to do something you don't want to do. Like gangs. I mean, you're pressured to do how you sometimes have to steal or shoplift to get into a gang or something like that. I think you should be yourself. I mean, why not? It's such simple words, but nobody understands them, and everybody wants to be like everybody. I think being different is good. I mean, we're all alike. We all want love. We all want a family, but we want something more. We want respect, and it's a respect problem because everybody wants respect, and they can't be seeming to get it. And
So they try to get it by acting like somebody else.
I think one of the things that the media does is that they put things down. They take one subject, and it can be so simple and easy, and they just throw it down. And then what the media does is they don't tell the truth all the time. Sometimes the media will take one subject. It's like telephone. You know how you tell something to somebody, and by the time it gets to its destination, it's totally flipped up. That's what the media does. It takes what somebody done said. If they went to like a African American and told them their opinion, then they take that stuff up and then they turn that around and they'd say something like, well, he said he didn't like white people because they didn't do this and they do that. And the media, they need to think about there's so many more things in life than just telling what people say. You need to get to know that person before you can base it.
It's all about money.
It's all about money, and we're also influenced. As I said in last week's show, we're all wearing tennis shoes. We're all wearing jerseys. You all love a certain sports team because you've seen it, you've seen it, you've seen it. So the media, be it the news or the, and trying to television and trying to figure out what's real and what's not. Before you know it, you think the world is black and white, rich and poor, ghetto or suburbs. And that's not the way the world is. And I think we're paying a high price as youth, especially youth, learning so early that it's either ghetto or me. It's either the highway or the bad way. It's like, I think you said you have friends that make bad choices, right? How do you waver on that line to which way to go? I mean, and how do you...
How do I go the other way, not go that way?
Yeah.
Man, I just think about, sometimes I go back and think what my coaches be telling me this and that, or what my parents tell me. If I go that way, I can end up in jail, death, no telling what's gonna happen. They can end up doing a robbery, I won't know about it. So I think about it, I be like, should I go that way, go this way? So I just like, hey, I'm going to the crib, you know what I'm saying? My mama want me. I gotta do something about this and that time, or I gotta go somewhere. Just come up with any kind of excuse, tell me I gotta do this and that for my grandparents and anything. Just bring something up and lie if you want. If you have to lie, let's lie.
Peer pressure so tight now, but see, if he says something like, man, I gotta go to the crib at a certain time, your friends might just turn around and be like, man, you always gotta go home early, man. What's wrong with you, man? Your parents are strict. You need to get away from all that. You know what I'm saying? You need to, you old, man. You about, how old are you? About 16, man. You need to start doing stuff on your own, man. You almost a grown man. Your parents still trying to hold you down there like you about 6. They help it, man. Peer pressure just be tight.
I got pressured. Was I don't really go to church. It's like one time on winter break when our school was out, I was working and my boss took us to church and we was all dirty, still got work clothes on and everything. I all got little bushy heads and all. I got a haircut then. He all had bushy heads over winter break. All had dust, dirty shoes, dirty boots. She took us to church. Like, we don't want to go to no church. She like, y'all need little Jesus in y'all. I was like, man, I ain't been in church in a couple of years, about 5, 6 years since I was a little boy. And she took us to church. We went up in there, nappy heads and all. And it was some older dudes, and they was about 20, 25. They was like, they looked young, like they was about 18 all. And they pressured me. They was pressuring me to do some stuff. And I seen them like they was laughing all. And I tell you, it was about 200 people in the church. I turned around and had the whole church laughing. Just doing some little silly stuff they was doing. I did outbursted with it and got it all loud and they started laughing while my boss was yelling at me, and they just took about laughing at me and all that. And I was pressured to have the whole church
peer pressure at church? Yeah. Yes.
Well, a lot of people don't think about consequences. And that's basically the main thing about peer pressure. When you do something that someone else tells you to do or just do something on your own, you always have a consequence. Always. There's never a time that you won't have one. And that's a lot of things that people don't stop and think about. If I do this, what will the consequence be? And that's what people don't think about lots of times.
Why do a lot of kids not think about it? And what could we do as a group or a TV show to help kids think about it?
Inspire them by, setting a role model. Being a role model.
Yeah, maybe something you say to someone out there might help them take a better road. Something, at least dialogue like this is a start. How often do you guys have a conversation like this anywhere, at any time? Not enough, yes?
Well, a lot of TV shows they're either predominantly white or predominantly black. Like Seinfeld and Friends, they're all white, and like Family Matters or Martin, you know, they're all black, and they never like mix with white and black together in a TV show.
That's like the old shows. The more new ones, like I saw an episode of Claude's Crib, and I really enjoyed that one. And they have like a real mix. They have about like even and as far as like race goes and as far as sex goes, because they have a Chinese, they have a white person, they have a black person, and then they have like two females, and one is white and one is black. And so, and that's like, you know, if you some prejudiced person, they would be thinking, well, you know, how can I make this show seem prejudiced? But there's, you know, not really easy to do that because it's like really well mixed.
I'm not prejudiced or nothing, but if any person hates me, I'm gonna hate them back. You know what I'm saying?
That's not a good choice, though.
I know what you're saying. I mean, because if he hate me, I mean, what use is me? What use is for me trying to go up there and try to be his friend and stuff? But if every time I see him or something, he wants to fight me or something for some reason. So if he talks crazy to me, I'm gonna talk crazy back. I'm not just gonna sit there and just get put down.
He's not talking at all.
And get my feelings hurt for no reason.
Well, someone talks crazy to you, are you gonna talk crazy back?
Yeah.
You are?
Yeah. I ain't gonna sit there and make it look like I'm a punk or something.
Yeah, well, it's like he hits you in school, he gets kicked out, you're gonna hit him back, and you guys are teenagers. I know if I get hit by someone, I'm probably not gonna hit him back. You know, I'm too pretty to get my face messed up on some crazy maniac that wants to bust up my face.
Everybody look at you that way, so you know what I'm saying? If I hit you and you ain't do nothing back, you know, everybody gonna start.
I know, as a teenager, you're worried about that. I don't care how they look at me. I know, I play basketball. And dudes want to, you know, get it on the court. Listen, you know, I talk a lot of trash on the court, but I don't want to get busy. You know, I mean, dental work, black eyes, broken noses.
You should get to the point. I mean, somebody starts flunking you, you just go, hey, you're a really big guy, aren't you? And just, you know, walk away. And you go, yeah, I'll kick you, you know, and they'll be talking to you, and you just go, sure, make it, you know, make an appointment, we'll talk about it.
You get smart with them, then they really want to, because, you know, sometimes people just do it just to be, you know, like, yeah, trying to hang out with their friends, you know, they might just mess with somebody. They really don't want the person to talk back to them, but they just might do it. Like, if I seen somebody walking down the hallway like him, if I seen him walking down the hallway, and I was with these two dudes, and I'm trying to look tough in front of them, so if I say something like, yeah, you keep on walking, or something like that, and if he turns around and be like, yeah, you're a really big guy, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, all right, so you want to talk crazy, you know, get smart, you know what I'm saying? Now I'm going to go down. I really want to, just my temperature just rise, and then I probably snap. But I don't know.
That's true, too. But I guess if you, like, talk tough to them, you know, and you know, sometimes always they talk tough because, you know, they're not really planning on fighting. They just want to talk, and they're just words. No, it's not all the time, but mostly it is. And so, you know, then he'll be thinking, wait a second, so if I get in the fight with him, what are the consequences? He can actually, you know, kick my butt. And so you'll be like talking nuts to him, and then he'll turn around and go, sure, yeah, whatever. And he'll walk around and you go, what? And you so crazy, and you'll like start moving towards him, and then you'll be thinking, wait a second, he looks kind of bigger than me. Or, you know, or I heard that he was like a black belt or something, you know.
Yeah, that's like me on the
Then you just go, well, yeah.
Me on the basketball court. During the heat of competition, I got the fastest tongue in the West. But then sometimes I get into someone's head so much that they want to, you know, I was just kidding. It was just sports.
Well, a lot of times when someone's putting you down, if you go back, talk back along with them, you know, and fight back and forth, you're going down right along with them. But if you talk, if you just walk away, I know it's hard. It's easy for me to say, but if I'm in a predicament, it's hard for me to do. But if you just walk away and I'm paying attention to them, then you know you're the one that's going up, they're the one going down, and a lot of times it's for publicity.
Yeah, it's for their self-esteem. Yesterday, driving down the road, I was at Friday at 5 o'clock, and everyone was pissed off, and I mean, dudes cutting me, you know, and I like went like this, and some dude stopped his truck. You know, it's like, you know, the highway. You guys, some of you drive, and you see those games people play. I just said, I stopped my car, I let him go, because you've heard about highway crazies. Well, there's also school crazies, there's street crazies.
Well, two things. One, like he said, if like somebody goes up to you and they punch you, if you don't do anything, then everybody's going to think that you're going to be like, they can come up and just punch you and you're not going to do anything about it.
Yeah, don't turn the other cheek.
And then there's this girl at my school. She just comes up to me for no reason because I was like just looking at something, and then she thought I was staring at her, and she just like starts cussing at me, and I'm like, what's your problem? She has this problem. It's because of the people she hangs around with, and everybody she hangs around with is like that. She just gets like...
I hear about those arguments every day in school. Yes, we got about 7 minutes left. I want to talk about something someone could do to develop these conversations, church, home, school, neighborhood. We talked last week about a mentor program. You guys all have schools, you all have teachers, you all have counselors. Don't you think a discussion like this during the school day or right after school with everyone would be a cool suggestion?
They took us to a scare program one time through the Marion County Jailhouse and the funeral homes. And they took us to the Marion County Jailhouse. We started from the basement onto the very top of Marion County Jailhouse, walking through the cells and all. Now, I guess they talked it to the cellmates and all that, and I guess the security was talking to the cellmates and all, talking about how to scare us and all. I guess they were throwing water on us with a yellow food color and something, talking about it's pee, and they were throwing it on us, trying to scare us and pulling us towards the cell. If you to touch them, try to touch them, they'll do what they do to them, put them in handcuffs and shackle you down, lay you on the ground, and try to scare you, then take you to a funeral home. And so they see how it is laying in the casket, how it is laying in the casket.
You know what I'm saying? They got a lot to do with race stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, I guess you say the O.J. Simpson thing and Rodney King. I mean, police got a lot to do with racial things because they think, I guess, they hide behind their badges a lot of times. Because I've been to some episodes where there's been prejudiced police officers coming and harassing me. I'm just walking down the street or something, or I'm standing in front of my house one day. I come outside because a whole bunch of my friends was out there, you know, just having a good little conversation, talking. Police rose up, and then they try to throw me and stuff on the ground because I'm standing in front of my house. Now I'm like, this is my house, this is where I live. They patting me down, checking me for any drugs and guns and stuff. I mean, for no reason. I'm just having a little nice conversation with my friends in front of my house. And they like to put them clubs and stuff in people's backs and around their neck and choke them
It makes
for no
it
reason.
feel like they're in power because supposedly they're the law. But see, I guess the police, they're like to preserve the law, but you know, they're not like a judge or jury, and so you know, and I mean, we have like, I guess, if like police who walks in, they look like they're all tough, you know, and the thing that like I guess I'm kind of find funny is that you see a cop, right, and he's about what, 200 pounds or something, and he's walking, he's just huge, and he acts all tough and macho, right? And he'll be just like, you know, yeah, you don't do this, yeah, I'm tough, and he'll be like throwing his stick. But if it actually came to like hunting somebody down, or, you know, if like a criminal and you have to chase him, there's, I don't know, but it seems kind of like curious to me if that 200-pound person or 300 pounds or whatever, and a huge guy with a big beer belly going to chase after the person.
Well, see, what you're doing is you're stereotyping. You're doing exactly what this show is aimed not doing. We would all be a lot worse off without policemen. And you're stereotyping. You're doing exactly what this show's not about.
Yeah, but I'm saying, but I'm thinking that, you know, if like a police, they're supposed to be like the top of the line and preserve the, you know, the law. So they should be, you know, I guess, fit.
Guess what? Probably most policemen are. There's a small amount of policemen that give you this stereotype, just like you guys. Black American youth maybe get a bad rap. All black American male youth are not bad. A small amount of them are, right? So why don't the people out there and the people here realize there's a few bad cops, there's a few bad boys, there's a few bad girls, there's a few bad white girls, there's a few bad guys with ponytails.
Because the news makes a big deal about it.
Yeah.
The news and the media, you see it in movies, they write a book about it, they do a movie about it, and then you're like, oh my gosh, look at what's happening in our society.
And it's pounded in our brain again and again and again.
Nobody concentrates on the good things
Right.
in America.
And that's why we need a show like
Everybody concentrates
this.
on the bad things.
I think one thing to change our opinion upon things is take it as a compliment. When people talk about me and call me
They call me a sellout because sometimes I don't care. I do talk white. I don't care, so I do. So
You talk white. What does that
that's
mean?
what they say, that I don't talk like, yo, girl, what's up, home girl, what's up with all that? Nah, I talk like, hey, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. I talk like I got some sense.
Right.
Now, I don't care what anybody say. When somebody call me and I'm like, really? I didn't know I was that. Can you tell me about that? You know, tell me all about my business. You know what I'm saying? When they got a rumor going, I talk to them. I'm like, did you know? Oh, boy, I didn't know that. I didn't know about all that. I tell you, there's a comical sense. And if you can take that things, if you take your enemy, my mom says, do unto others what you want done unto you. And if you want to be treated right, treat your enemies right. One girl wanted to fight me, and I treated her so nice, and she just felt so bad.
Yeah.
And finally, she just moved out of school.
It
because
takes
I
a
was
big person to do that. And you guys, we have a couple minutes left. I just want to say that these things that we can do at your schools, find a counselor, find a teacher that can develop a class like this, or a mock television show like this. It wouldn't hurt, would it? It would help some people, right? I mean, has it helped you a little bit? I mean, you guys, the fact that you took the time to come down here, it already says something about your character and who you are. I'd like to know the other 900 kids that I gave flyers to and why they didn't come.
I think the show is to be helpful. And now with the technology that we have, you got all these TVs in the classrooms that are about, you know, with all the computers, everything. You know, you could just like pop on the tape, have a class, or an auditorium and have like sessions, you know, where you could just comment like, you know.
Yeah, the internet, the computer, everything. Use your sources to gain your information. Use your mentors, your counselors. Find a mentor. Help me make On Your Level a mentoring show that we can reach a lot of people. We can reach a lot through TV, cable access. One day we can get it on a network. One day, if not soon, we'll get it on the internet, and you guys can be a part of it. You guys can be leaders at your schools. And if you get called a sellout or talk white, you're big enough to understand, to laugh, you know? Find a little humor in the stupidity of the world, but understand it, and take your brains and your common sense to help someone else understand it, even if it's someone that is really freaking out, because that's what we have to do. We have to step up for the people that don't understand it, and it might take a little time, or you might get called something, but do it. Find a group at school that you can do it through a group, so people can be attracted to that group, because those people with that ignorance, they don't want to be that way. They don't want to be that way. You know that.
Well, one thing you got to...
You know, where do they get that from?
TV.
Sometimes also it will be other kids that persuade them to do so. You know, like they'll be really good friends and then they'll say, well, if you're my good friend, why don't you do this? Because it's cool and it's, you know.
And those are the people that are trying to influence you. And you, at your age, you see friends like that do that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
Tell me how you have made the choices to fight off that. Tell me some of the good choices you make to be sure that you don't go down that road.
Not to fight.
Not to fight, yeah, that's a good choice.
Ignore them.
Ignore them. That's the best choice possible, because see, they're just looking for attention. They just want attention. They want someone to pay attention to them. And if you don't pay attention to them, guess what? They'll go away.
Not to do something with them.
Yeah, don't hang out with them.
Don't argue with them.
Yeah.
Stay away from them.
And you guys all make those choices. You don't?
Sometimes.
Do you sometimes hang around those people?
My cousin.
But do you make bad choices like they do? Or you try not to? You're tempted? And the point is about this media literacy is that the more you see of that behavior, the more chance that you're going to do it. Straight up. You hang around them, you're going to be tempted to go down that road. Do you believe me? So maybe you have to think about not hanging around them. They might call you, names, but do you want to go down their road, or do you want to go down the road that you're headed on?